Hello and welcome. My name's Joe Lozon. Before we get started, I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm originally from Toronto. I actually did my Bachelor of Commerce in Marketing Management at the University of Guelph. Back in 2008, I graduated. I've been in the marketing, sales, and branding for about 14 years ever since. In the last 10 years in the educational industry, and the last 6 years specifically at the Automotive Business School of Canada, working directly with the automotive industry. So what I want to talk to you about today is just give you a quick overview of Georgian College and the Automotive Business School of Canada so you understand who we are and what we do. Talk a bit about the automotive industry in Canada. What are the current employment opportunities? And then look at what are some of the trends in the automotive industry, what to expect in some changes within careers, within organizations, what that might look like, and quickly talk about some career pathways for those industries. So as we go through, please put your questions into the chat. The presentation is probably going to be about 20 minutes or so. And then at the end of it, I will go through and answer all your questions and try and keep enough time to be able to do that for you. So to get started, Georgian College. So for those that may not be aware, we're located in Central Ontario. We have 7 different campuses, over 130 different programs and 13,000 students. Our main campus, where the Automotive Business School is located, is out of Barrie. Our other 2 larger campuses are out of Orillia and Owen Sound, about an hour north of Toronto. Georgian College has everything from certificates, diplomas, degrees, and graduate certificates. We try to manage the hard skills that are expected out of a college in terms of getting some hands-on learning and getting things that are specific to the workplace, as well as learning the theoretical strategy management that you might expect out of a university education. The Automotive Business School of Canada specifically was founded back in 1985. It was actually built by the automotive industry to create the future generation. So back in 1985, we had the Canadian Auto Dealers Association come to us. They wanted to create a business education program for their sons and daughters to be able to take over their business, something that was very specific and specialized. Over the years, we've grown to work with the federal organizations that work with all of the vehicle manufacturers, car dealers, aftermarket parts and service organizations. And we have some of the key CEOs from across the country on our board, informing our curriculum and creating some pretty cool experiences for our students. So one of the more interesting things of what we do is having those partnerships and those networks. Our students get to host their own auto show, go to the Toronto Auto Show. They get to go to auctions and workplaces and have some very cool hands-on experiences. They do up to 12 months of paid co-op work, depending on the program that they do, and they tend to do extremely well. So we actually have 2 different programs. We have a 2-year diploma, really designed for entry-level to mid-level management. So you soon see Neil on the left. He's a graduate of ours from a few years ago. He's now owning a local Active Green and Ross location. And we also have a BBA program specialized in automotive management. So obviously a management degree program, 12 months of paid co-op work and designed for management and above. Also opens up opportunities at the corporate level. So you'll see Julian here on the right, one of our graduates that's now working at Volvo Canada. So now to get onto the automotive industry, as many may not be aware, it is one of the largest industries in the country. We manufacture over 2 million new vehicles every year. Many are exported and imported back in. So we actually sell about 2 million new cars on a regular basis per year. On top of that, we are a big manufacturer, specifically in Ontario, of car parts and accessories, and multiple different sectors between dealerships and the aftermarket that I'll go through, but a big part of our GDP and a big sector for a lot of different jobs. And I'll talk a bit more about that as we go. Vehicle manufacturing. So there's over 130,000 jobs in vehicle manufacturing. These typically are in Ontario. Many are in the actual process of manufacturing vehicles. So shift work within a factory or operating that. You're thinking more skilled labor, engineering, or general operations and efficiencies, quality assurance. But there's also corporate head offices that do marketing, planning, and really try and build the brand and work with the dealerships across the country. So there's dealer reps. There's all kinds of positions and careers that people aren't aware of working for the vehicle manufacturers. People are more familiar with car dealerships. So in every small town and big city, there's over 160,000 jobs tied to new car dealerships. Nevertheless, the used car dealerships. As you may be aware, you could sell cars, you could become a mechanic, but many of the dealerships have service advisors, parts advisors, marketing people, human resources, accounting. In the smaller towns, the dealerships might be owned by a family or a certain individual, privately owned. Within larger urban areas like Toronto, you'll see large dealer groups where maybe they're into racing and they have 10, 20, 30 dealerships. Where they'll have a corporate office that, they've taken their accounting in-house, they've taken their creative in-house, so maybe they need computer programmers for their websites. There's a lot of career opportunities for dealerships that are typically not as well known. The last of the main three sectors in the automotive industry in Canada is the aftermarket parts and service organizations. There's over 300,000 jobs in that sector. So we are a large parts and accessories manufacturer in Ontario. We work with the US as well as Mexico. We produce all kinds of tires and parts. Magna is one of the bigger organizations. So we employ over 300,000 from the actual manufacturing, distribution, right down to owning a parts or service shop. So tons of opportunity, typically more entrepreneurial opportunities as they're smaller organizations from the parts and service side. And then lastly, suppliers. So, the best known stat for jobs within the automotive industry in Canada is roughly 1 in 10 jobs are tied to it. Because not only are those three sectors accumulate to over 500,000 jobs across the country, but there's suppliers that supply products and services. So if you think of finance, there's TD Auto Finance, there's marketing, tech companies, website, creative, all of these different organizations that partner with the auto sector. And they're all in need of qualified people. In terms of pay, the automotive industry is also one of the highest paid industries within Canada, upper quartile. It does depend on what organization, exactly what your role is, but whether you're manufacturing or part of the manufacturing process, you're probably getting paid more, as well as retail within a dealership pays way more than most other retail operations. And automotive can take you anywhere. As I've learned over the last 6 years, relationships are very important. Getting to meet the people that are part of the auto industry, typically stay a part of the auto industry. Whether you're looking to work for a manufacturer, you could end up anywhere within the world. There's also jobs in every small town within Canada. So the career opportunities, whether you're introverted or extroverted or good with people or good with numbers, there's really something for everyone. If you have a passion for cars or just want to take advantage of the opportunities that are out there. And one of the things is in the past, it was very male, white dominated. There is a lot of initiatives and need for greater diversity within the auto industry. So if that's something of interest, there's scholarships and grants and tuitions to help diversify the industry as well. So that's a basic overview of some of the structure of the auto industry within Canada and how it works and where these jobs might be. But let's talk a bit about some of the trends in the future of what the auto industry might look like. One of the major things is connected vehicles. when you look at Tesla or even some of the regular brands with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, the vehicles are starting to have internet. A lot of what is being done is being done by a computer, and cars are more and more becoming computers and less mechanical. That creates a need for different skill sets. Even from a mechanic, the need to be able to diagnose the computer as well, or being done, corporately at the head office and downloaded into all of the vehicles. So there's computer programming, security, UX design, some of these skill sets that are going to be needed more and more within the industry as we move forward. The other one, obviously, is electric vehicles. There's a big push towards that right now. What you may be less familiar with is that electric vehicles need a lot less parts and service. A lot of the regular maintenance of your vehicle is not needed. You don't need an oil change. The only things that really need maintenance are tires and brake pads. The infrastructure to charge, some of the technologies that are coming around, wireless charging, there's going to be a lot of change. So if you own a service shop or a dealership, there's still going to be a need to service and work with consumers, but that's going to evolve and change, as well as the skill sets to be able to do that. Next is the autonomous vehicles. So we're starting to see there's autonomous vehicles on the road, not fully autonomous, but soon, within 10 plus years, we could see a place where there is no steering wheel within a car, where you can actually view movies and relax within your vehicle. That's going to change our job market drastically. If you think about not just Uber drivers or truck drivers, potentially not being needed at the same capacity, but also if you are the owner of a vehicle or who owns the vehicle, if you only need it to drive to and from work, that vehicle, now that it can drive itself, could potentially be owned by 6 different people doing different things throughout the day. So car ownership model might change in terms of leasing and renting. And that takes some of the disruption that's already happening. So in major cities, you're starting to see more what they call micromobility. So a lot of organizations coming in to rent, lease scooters, electric bikes. We're seeing more Lyfts and Ubers to be able to get around town without actually having to own a vehicle. And then longer distance rentals coming through. We've even seen dealerships and manufacturers come out with short-term leasing, where you could lease a truck for half of the year and then get your sports car in the summer and lease that and jump back and forth. So a lot of different models are coming in. Different organizations are going to be successful, and different skill sets are needed for that. And then one of the biggest ones that's happening right now because of COVID is e-commerce. You used to have to go into a dealership and probably take about 2 to 3 hours to buy a vehicle. You can basically go through the entire process and have it delivered to your house without ever actually seeing a dealership now. The need of salespeople versus those that develop websites and can work on social media and digital advertising are going to become more prevalent in the near future. So those are some of the major trends. Who knows what it's all going to play out to be, but those are some of the things that are happening and are major talk in the auto industry in terms of disrupting the current way things are happening and the current or the future career opportunities. In terms of post-secondary pathways, most of you are familiar with the general diploma, degree, and apprenticeship. So if you're looking to become a mechanic, nothing's changed. There's apprenticeship opportunities. Or you can go do a diploma at a college to get some experience and help start your apprenticeship. If you have C-level credits, you can go into your diplomas for mid to entry level to mid-level management, and then there's management degree programs and graduate certificates that help you specialize or masters. And if you only have C-level credits and want to become a manager, you can start in your diploma and transfer into your degree within Ontario is pretty good. The other thing to consider is specialization, especially when you come into business. If you were to take accounting or marketing, There's different ways to specialize your education and get different certifications to help you stand out. One cool thing about the Automotive Business School is you get to specialize in the auto industry, you get to understand it, you get to network, and then you can go on and specialize within a profession as well. So in terms of trying to find out what is the right pathway for you, I suggest connecting with colleges and universities, talk to professionals, network. I think, especially if you're younger and don't have a lot of experience, or maybe you're still in high school, it's tough to understand all of the different career opportunities that are out there, what you might actually enjoy, what's it like to work there. So ask a lot of questions, try things out, and that's the best way to try and figure out what's the best fit for you. Co-op education, I think, is really important. Our students we find about 70 to 80% of our students will have a job offer from one of their co-op employers. So it helps transition from post-secondary to get their career started. And then specialization, the more you can create a niche or specialize and gain some valuable skills, you become more valuable for employers. And trying to understand what those trends are might help you set yourself up for success in the future. That is the presentation, so thank you so much. I will stop sharing and see what questions you might have from me. Okay, so we have what are the admission requirements? So for our specific program, we have a 2-year diploma. So the admission requirements are math and English in grade 12. For the BBA degree in Ontario, it's 6 URM level credits, so university or mixed level, 1 being a U level math and 1 being a U level English with a minimum of 70% GPA. I will stick around for a few more minutes, see if there are any major questions. So if you're interested, I get this question a lot, actually. If someone's interested in car design and development. So we design car parts here in Canada and some accessories. We typically do not design actual vehicles. Vehicles are typically designed at the head office for the manufacturer. So in Ford's case, that would happen in the US. If you're looking at, Porsche or Volkswagen, that would happen in Germany. So not that it's impossible, especially this day and age, a lot is happening virtually, but typically vehicle design is not, but mechanical design, part design does happen here in Ontario. Mechanical engineering degree in automotive. Typically you're looking at, there's a few different options, but you could be looking at, you're working somewhere in manufacturing of car parts or the actual vehicles themselves. Most of those jobs are in Ontario, Southern Ontario. We work very closely with the US, and there's some opportunities, whether it's designing, working on the actual assembly line and the robotics. There's some different opportunities around there, but I would contact, Magna, parts manufacturers, or some of the vehicle manufacturers. So there's a Honda plant in Alliston. Most of the plants obviously are just around the GTA, similar to the corporate head offices. And just for those that are interested in thinking about pursuing a career in automotive, I think you'll find each sector a little different. And I explained a little bit about it, but the manufacturers tend to be more corporate. You have an office, you're probably there from Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. The car dealerships being retail or open retail hours. So Although, the back shop for parts and service will open very early and close earlier. Sales will open at 10 and stay open till 8, 10 o'clock at night. Working, not all of them will have 6 days a week, but potentially longer working hours, but more excitement. There's a lot happening within a dealership. You may not even need a desk, or your desk might be out in the open. And then the aftermarket is typically very small companies. So 10 people organizations, they're running a service shop or a tire shop or whatever the organization might do, selling parts. So there's more entrepreneurial opportunity, easier entry level. Really depends on what you see as a good fit for you. So scope of career outside of Canada. So in business, I mean, every country has a strong automotive industry, and they're even moving from automotive to mobility. So the conversation, if you talk to Hyundai Canada, Rob or Don Romano, he sees Hyundai Canada and Hyundai Global as a mobility company. So not just automotive, but you might see Hyundai planes and motorcycles. It is, how do we move people from point A to point B? There's a lot of career opportunities. It depends on what organization you go to. So if you went to a Hyundai Canada, they're a global organization. We've had grads that have gone on to Porsche Cars Canada or wherever. They'll go from Canada to Australia to Europe because they're global brands. They have that mobility. Same with like a Magna, so a parts manufacturer. Once you get into the dealerships, the dealer groups are typically throughout the country or within a region. And then you can see like a Canadian Tire or some of the aftermarket places. They're more regionally focused or across the country. So there's opportunities to move when you're thinking globally. It's the manufacturers that have global companies, but a lot of the auto industry in the developed nations are very similar. When you go to the less developed nations, the auto industry is actually behind in terms of not selling used vehicles, and some of the processes that they have are actually a bit behind, but the opportunities are still there. Any last questions before we call up? The other thing I will mention for the 14 that are still left, if you are interested in finding out more about our school or where our alumni are, so you can check out our school. We have a booth here. It has most of the information, but you can actually go to LinkedIn, search Georgian College, look up our alumni, and just type in automotive into your search, and I'll show you where all of our alumni are today. There are great opportunities in automotive. So if you have a passion for cars, or just want to work hard and have an opportunity to make something of yourself and be rewarded for it, I think the automotive industry, whether it's engineering or mechanical or business, that you should look into it. So I think that's it. I don't see any more questions coming in. Thanks for joining me. Or if you're watching this virtually, come check out the booth. Happy to answer any questions that you have. Thanks.